Hello, everyone. Welcome to the EDHREC podcast and YouTube channel, where we're all about Commander, data, and dad jokes. So just last month, we hit the amazing milestone of 100,000 subscribers. And to celebrate this milestone, I thought no guest could be better for the show than the one, the only, the professor of Tolarian Community College. Brian, hey, what's up? So freaking glad to have you on, dude.
Joey, thank you so much for having me on, and congratulations on 100,000 subscribers. Oh my God, that's great. Where are you gonna hang your plaque?
Well, so I did just get it in.
You got it. Oh, cool.
It just came in. Pretty happy about that. And the husband and I have no idea where to put it. We are going to try and figure that out. No clue is currently the answer. We'll get there eventually. I'm not the one who's allowed to make all of the decorative choices around the house because I'm bad at it. So,
well, I'm sure wherever it is, it will bring you great pride and joy every time you look at it, and that is something that's very well deserved, my friend.
Thank you, and you to your million as well. It was a really fantastic thing to be there with you when you hit your million. So this just felt like a nice full circle thing for you to be on when we got 100K. It's just a very celebratory tone in the air for me, I think, right now.
Well, a million is the next stop. It's weird that they don't have, there's no half a million. There's no quarter of a million. There's it's just like you made it to 100 and that's so cool. And then they're like, we don't want to hear from you again until you hit a million. We don't care. 500,000? Woo! What do you want, a plaque for 500,000? Nah.
It's so strange. I don't understand YouTube at the best of times.
Yeah, it's wild. And they stop talking to you too, because like the thing is when you create your channel, they're like, yeah, you created your channel. They send you emails when you get 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. They like say things like at whatever number 1,000, you've got more subscribers than could fill a football stadium. Just think about that. The 10,000, 50,000, you're going to get there 100, and then it's crickets until 1 million, and you get a little like, congratulations, you got 1 million. That's great.
I can't begin to understand it either. It's like a textless cryptic command sometimes with YouTube. I just sometimes don't understand it at all. Anyway, it's really great to have you on the show. And here, I honestly just want to keep things a little bit casual. I mean, truly, we don't get to big milestones like the ones that we happened to have hit without a whole lot of joy, you know? So for this, I kind of just wanted to catch up with you, chat a little bit about some of the things that make us so committed to this hobby, to this job, and committed to this community as well, and talk about a couple of our favorite things. Just sort of, again, you know, enjoy the moment, enjoy the vibe.
I could not think of anyone I would like to just chill with than yourself. This is going to be wonderful.
Well, thank you. I guess we're going to kind of start a little bit simple and chat about just some of our favorite things, but the questions will get a little bit more complex as the episode goes on. Okay. And we might even, these initial ones might even be kind of rapid fire. For instance, favorite card, go.
Rapid fire with me, Magic's most loquacious individual. Allow me... Mr. Schultz, allow me to answer your question with a question before I can answer your question, which is favorite card. Well, which era of Prof are you asking? Because there is the me that began playing Magic in high school, and my favorite card was cards, multiple probably from that time. Favorite cards from returning to the game as an adult, as a YouTuber, present day. Versus when I just came back, I have so many favorites. Give me a little bit of a focus on there's no overall favorite. I won't let you take the easy way with that. Like which era of Prof?
Well, we'll have to say current favorite. I mean, I've got one. My favorite card is Living Death. I just love getting all the creatures out of the graveyard. But if needs must, then we will shrink it to current favorite.
I don't know. I mean, I currently am absolutely enamored with. Is it okay if I pick not a real Magic card?
Is it
one of Gavin's? Yes, it is.
Yes.
And is that vain? Is it vain that my favorite Magic card is the one that Gavin made of me? I'm worried that makes me come off as a little vain. But the truth is it isn't called like the Professor or whatever. It's the Scholar of the Seas, and it's a Merfolk. And whereas everybody else, Gavin did the vanity cards where it's like supposed to represent them and it's the name implies them. And you can tell most people don't even know that I have a vanity card and that it's the Scholar of Seas because Gavin just listened to me for half a decade, complained to him about how there isn't a good Merfolk commander in the sense of doing what I want, like literally just me, what I want a Merfolk commander to do. And he just was like, here, fine. This is exactly what the professor wants a merfolk commander to do. It'll never get made, so it's a fake little card for our mystery boxes, and no one will even know it's supposed to be him. It's the Scholar of Seas, and I love it. It's everything I want in a merfolk commander. They'll never top it. They'll never top it.
I mean, we're allowed to be a little bit self-indulgent on a 100K subscriber milestone video. We're allowed to be self-indulgent, so I think that's perfect. And frankly, if the moment that they make a legendary kangaroo, Joey, will be over the moon, and I'll say that that's my vanity card or whatever. So like, feel it. Feel the zhuzh. I think that's fantastic.
Will you be hopping with joy? Should I have kept that one in the pouch?
Oh, no.
You said dad jokes in your intro.
We do.
You said dad jokes, and you literally have me on.
Yeah, no, we do dad jokes all the time. I'm just always the victim of them. Anyway. Deepest apologies for interrupting the interview. I just need to briefly mention our sponsors before we get right back to it. An enormous thank you to Dragon Shield, makers of fine sleeves, from my favorite sturdy matte sleeves to even custom art sleeves that are still very properly durable for mass shufflers like me. Use code EDHREC, all lowercase, on dragonshield.com to get 5% off your order, and check out the link in the description for our exclusive and awesome looking EDHRECast sleeves too. Thank you also to cardsphere.com, a website dedicated to bringing trading back into this trading card game. This site is easy as heck to use, and to get trading right away, it puts you in the driver's seat with the when and how you would like to send cards out, and setting your rates of what prices and conditions that you would like to trade for is super simple. All of us on the podcast have used this service to turn our bulk into some bling and to build out our decks. Go to cardsphere.com/EDHRECast to make an account and turn cards you're not currently using into cards that you will use. Once again, that's cardsphere.com/EDHRECast. And finally, this show is brought to you by you, our phenomenal patrons over at patreon.com/EDHRECast. This show is only possible because of your support. Liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and leaving podcast reviews are all free ways to support the show, and we wouldn't have gotten to this milestone without all of you doing exactly that: sharing, reviewing, subscribing. But also, if it makes sense to you to give us $1 a month or whatever, we have perks on Patreon as a way of saying thank you, like our Patreon Discord, where we like to hang out and chat with everybody, and even some Patreon exclusive content. And of course, we shout out a patron every episode as well, and this week we're shouting out Gabriel Saldate, who it turns out is one of our longtime supporters. Thank you, Gabriel, for believing in us all of these years, and it's belief from folks like you who make it all worthwhile. Thank you again, everyone, and now let's get you all back to that fantastic interview with our esteemed and effervescent professor. What about favorite deck? I feel like I know the answer to this one, but from favorite card to favorite deck.
Well, my favorite deck, it's not Merfolk. That is one of them, but my favorite deck is a standard deck from about 12 years ago. It is called French Rights, or Frights, and it was a reanimator deck in standard where you used mulch to put a bunch of cards in the graveyard, and then Unburial Rights to reanimate an Elish Norn after flashing back cards like Lingering Souls. And it's a very special, sentimental deck to me because it was my first next level Magic moment where a friend and I, who were just building casual decks, went and printed out a deck list from a tournament, and we figured out how it worked. This was still earlier internet days, and there wasn't the type of Magic coverage that we now all know and love. And so we were just figuring it out over lunch. I was like, I don't see how this deck wins. And we kept going, and we were like, oh, I get it now. I get what you're supposed to do. And I loved it. And I played that deck until I played it past its due date, because after Elish Norn rotated out, I tried to reanimate Stormtide Leviathan was in standard, while Unburial Rights still was. And I was like, maybe if I reanimate Stormtide Leviathan. It didn't work, but I loved trying, and I just love that deck. I think that just is still my favorite just deck. It's got a lot of nostalgia, a lot of memories. Yeah. Modern Merfolk, old Modern Merfolk is one of them, and then old banned Pauper Affinity is another one, back when ATOG was legal and before Modern Horizons killed both my Pauper format and my Modern format. It's the Commander is the only format safe from Modern Horizons.
Ain't that the
truth?
And
I guess Standard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm very happy to hear a Reanimator answer. Folks will be very aware of my favorite deck, Babala Saga, of lovely aristocratic reanimating Night Witch. I
Yes.
just absolutely adore her. So for you to bring any Reanimator to the table just immediately makes my necromantic heart so happy. So I
There we
appreciate that.
go.
Now I'm kind of curious, like a favorite product overall that Wizards has made. Is there a favorite thing that really stands out to you?
Oh, Wizards. I like a challenge. Let's see here. I would say, well, I guess the boring answer is Commander Precons, because since day one, I have felt that Commander Precons really do everything that a product other than a booster pack should do. If you're brand new to Commander, and this is going to sound like I'm sponsored by Wizards, but God knows I'm not sponsored by Wizards. But the truth is if you're brand new to Commander and you want to play, all you have to do, I'm in my local game store. I want to play with my friends. I want to get my friends to play. Where do I start? And it's just so simple to just say, I'm looking around. There we go. I've got one. I knew there'd be product on the floor somewhere in my office, and to just say, buy this.
Yeah.
And you maybe not Thunder Junction, but buy this and go play with your friends. And if your friends are ready to play, maybe you won't win, but you'll have a good shot. You can still play with them. Experienced players are going to want precons they pick up. You could have 20 Commander decks, and you pick this up to strip for parts. And you could be brand new. And everywhere in between, you could be into collecting cards, you could be into playing casually, you can be into hardcore stuff, everything. And it really does have what you need. And even today, where the price has been raised quite a lot, it's still not bad in terms of your cost to pick it up. And originally, when it was like $29.99, oh my goodness, was it a great deal. And so there have been a few duds over the years, a few that I'm a little less hot on, but even when I think my worst grade on a Commander Precon has been like a B, unless it was one where I was upset about the price. Like there were ones I gave bad grades to because I was like, I don't care how good they are. I'm not paying $200 for a Commander deck.
The markup is crazy. Yeah.
But like for just the product, I think that's it. But I don't think it's my favorite. I think that's just my highest reviewed, like my favorite product. Gosh.
See, this is why I wanted to ask questions like this, because it does get a little bit harder. Like one of the reasons why I did want to ask about favorites and linger in some of our favorite things is because there are so many to choose from, and that itself is such a significant, fantastic thing about the game. And that's kind of the celebration that I wanted to live in here, is just like, wow, isn't it so cool that this type of thing is achievable and that we have a breadth of options to choose from for questions like this. Like that just speaks to a complexity and a richness of this hobby that just I don't experience with a whole bunch of my other hobbies. So the fact that it's hard for you to answer, perfect. I'm loving that.
I'm gonna say that I think my favorite product then is a booster pack, because it is the quintessential.
Okay.
It really is. And I have some issues with the fact that draft boosters have gone away. So I say a draft booster pack. I think a draft booster pack was a thing of perfection. I think it was the perfect product. You could play with it in a variety of ways. It served this game for nearly 3 decades, and it really was the perfect product. Was a Magic the Gathering draft booster pack. That's the one I'm gonna say. That's an A+.
Yeah. Foundational to so many different things. I'm kind of thinking, even in asking this question, I'm reflecting on what my own answer would be. And I'm realizing that I've drafted Commander Legends 6 times, but I drafted Battle Bond 9. Battle Bond was really fantastic.
Battle Bond was great. Battle Bond, I liked Original Conspiracy, Battle Bond.
Yes. Yeah.
Conspiracy 2. Those were really good products as well.
Yeah. Not to be too nostalgia rose-colored glasses about anything, but again, it's a little bit of an indulgent episode here, and these are the things that I find very centering. It's so cool to lock back into these moments and be oh yeah, this game's kind of freaking rad, isn't it? And so that's just
it is
a thing I wanted to linger in for a moment. Anyway, in the interest of trying to make these questions a little bit more complex as we go, moving from decks and cards and stuff like that, what about your favorite thing about Magic overall?
So it's, again, I'm going to give you two sides of it. Is actually, for me, about Magic as a game. It's not even the game, but it's the self-expression.
Yeah.
Like I took a long hiatus from Magic, and during that hiatus, I dreamt about Magic quite a lot. I would daydream about it and reminisce about it and think about it. And when I did, I never daydreamed about the mechanics of a card. I always dreamed about like what I used the decks that I built to express about myself. And I thought about that flavor and that feeling. It's one of the reasons that I took Universes Beyond so personally, I guess you could say.
Sure.
I was very outspoken against it when it happened. There was definitely some, non-public channels of me, very angry and upset about it. And because for me, the flavor of Magic was so important and so crucial, and the way in which like your deck and what you play is a expression of yourself is what is my favorite thing about Magic the game. And it's a thing where a lot of other games that have good mechanics and good systems, they can't quite capture in the same way. Some try, some fail, but none are like Magic. And so that is for me my favorite thing about it, that it's like when you go, whatever your format or whatever your thing, and you're like, this is my deck, this is my story.
Yeah.
That's really important to me. Beyond that, the other side of it is not the Magic, but the Gathering. It's a cliche, but it's true. It's
true.
like as Magic does change, and as the Magic of today is not the Magic that I fell in love with, it is a new being, I believe. It is Universes Beyond. It is still Magic, but it is held together by that convergence of all of us coming from our different lives together to sit and play this great game. And it is still a great game, even if it is different than it was 30 years ago when I, was in high school. So yeah.
To speak to your point about the self-expression of it, that is also like way high up there for me. I think I've used this metaphor on an episode or two before on this channel, but I think Commander especially took off so much because it just allows each of us to become a Kaiba or a Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! That like having that signature deck and cards that are associated with you, that you can express yourself in that way. I'm seeing you shake your head. Do you know what a Kaiba or a Yu-Gi-Oh! Is?
I know it's not Magic. It's why are you not saying allows us to become a Jace or a Karn? Like what is it with Magic's IP that even Magic doesn't want it? What is it with why have we never been able to successfully capture characters in the way that you would use them as that example? And everyone's always going to Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is a terrible card game, by the way. Have you ever tried to play that
Yes,
gang thing?
Yes.
It's a nightmare. So it's just like, listen, I've had Yu-Gi-Oh! Players on the channel. I love them. They seem like very nice, wounded individuals. And I just really need to figure out why we can't seem to crack the code of our own characters, being something that people would look towards in the same way.
I understand that. I think growing up with that anime has a lot to do with it for me. So like the types of media that Magic does have its tendrils out in versus the types of things that other games are able to establish. That probably has a lot to do with it, just with the ease of me grabbing that metaphor. Me just sort of spitballing there. But I totally see your point. And also to your point about the Universes Beyond, I also initially met that with some caution, I would say. But as things have gone on and I talk to people who don't play Magic, but then they hear like, oh my God, a Lord of the Rings crossover? And they get really excited. And I see that joy reflected in their faces. I'm like, I'm going to have to learn to adapt here because that joy is really what it's all about. So even if it makes me uncomfortable in plenty of my own ways, at the very least, discomfort forces me to change and adapt and therefore to grow.
That's awesome. I hate Universes Beyond, but I have come to, and I say that, people have a very hard time quantifying these two, or I guess I should say reconciling these two facts. Mm-hmm. I hate Universes Beyond, but I am okay with other people loving Universes Beyond, and beyond a comical mumbling and groaning that I feel like can be permitted to do in my own house, thank you very much. I'm not like this has killed the game. The game is dead. Don't ever play with these cards. Nothing of the sort.
Mhm.
But it's just like, look, if you grab me and force me to and say you got to answer this, like what do you think of Universes Beyond? I don't just dislike it. I really hate it. But I also am like, but that doesn't. I'm just not like, well, then I'm done with Magic forever. I hate this game forever. It's dead to me forever. It's like, no, chill down, chill out. It's changed. It's not for you anymore in that area, but it's for you in all these other areas. And it's a complex game. And it's okay to that not everything is for you, because I'm not in my 30s anymore. And it was only all for me from 21 to 38. And then nobody cares anymore. Then you're done. Then you're irrelevant. Then we got Sonic the Hedgehog and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters and Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth and Chris, the other Chris. We got 3 of the Chris's.
Pine.
No, 2. Pine. So yeah, here's a great question for your viewers. Which of these 3 Chris's has not been on a Magic card? Chris Pine, Chris Pratt, or Chris Hemsworth? Because 2 out of the 3 of them have. And the third one's coming, my friends. The third one's coming. Oh my God. But yeah, allow me my opinion and allow me to also welcome the new generation.
Yeah, I think if there's any like quick thing that I'll voice about, like I mentioned like an acceptance, but also a discomfort. The thing for me is like I do miss, Magic building out its own IP in the way that you were just mentioning, because this Universes Beyond thing can't last forever. It truly just can't. I'm kind of skipping ahead to a question that I'd had a little bit later. I said the questions are going to get a little bit harder, but we might as well break into it now while we're here. The future of Magic was going to be something that I ask about. Like, what do you picture in the future for the game? And for me, with regards to Universes Beyond, I mean, there are only so many times that Wizards or Hasbro can go back to Sony or to Lord of the Rings Enterprises before that well runs very dry. And there are only so many IPs in the world. So eventually that experiment will have to end. And the line of profitability there kind of does have to stop going up year after year after year. Eventually it comes to a trickle in my mind. So I hope before we reach that point that Wizards has built out their own IP to be strong enough to withstand the landing when they thunk back into, oh yeah, now let's build out our own stuff once again. So that's kind of a thing that's in my head. I can't imagine that the Universes Beyond experiment goes more than 15 more years personally, just because I think you run out of successful IP.
Joey, I've only got about 15 more years. Look, that just basically means that maybe that's it for me. I'm cooked. That's it. 15 more years of this I got to do? Oh my God. And I'm referring to Universes Beyond. So you think in 15 years they're just going to stop. And after 15 years of 17 Universes Beyond products a year or whatever, it's just going to suddenly be, they're going to build out Magic's IP. They had 30 years to build out Magic's IP, and you still expressed your love and celebration of Magic the Gathering by referring to Yu-Gi-Oh characters.
It was a metaphor, not my only metaphor.
And you think after 15 more years of this, they'll figure out how to make Jace popular.
I hope they figure something out, is what I was saying. I share in a lot of those concerns. I'm not initially like crazy about the Fortnitification of Magic, and I do wish that it had more faith in itself sometimes too. But at the same time, I also just recognize that Magic is not a household name yet, so I would love for it to become a household name. And if this is a way that it's doing it, I guess I understand how it got to that point. I just also think that it will eventually clash back into the world where it can't continue using this strategy. So I hope that there's a plan for when it can no longer continue to do that thing, however many years it is that goes around, because I just don't think that it can be that way forever. There are only so many IPs in the world. So if I'm the CEO, I'm either currently working on whatever that exit plan is when the Universes Beyond thing eventually kind of has to slow to a trickle because Lord of the Rings won't work with them again. If I'm the CEO, I'm either working on that plan right now, or I'm planning on getting out of Dodge before we hit that point. I think that that's kind of what happens in my brain.
That's the one. So the CEOs are there for like 2 to 3 years. Yeah. Their goal during those 2 to 3 years is to strip the copper wiring out of the walls as much as possible and sell it, and then make off with their bag of money. And so enjoy Big Bang Theory and Rick and Morty universes
Yeah.
beyond 2027. Aren't you glad you invited me for the positive celebration podcast to just sit and be happy and joyful? You're the one bringing up Universes Beyond, by the way, not me. I was talking about ATOG and Merfolk and stuff like that, and then you're like, 15 more years of Universes Beyond. What do you think, Prof?
Who knows? Who knows how much it could be? I feel like there is a logical end point. Is all I was trying to get to. To your point though about the positivity of it though, I don't. Well, I don't.
I'm
think
a very positive guy. I'm a very positive guy, just not about Universes Beyond.
Bruv, I think you are one of the most anxious and generous people I've ever met in my entire life. I've always read those frustrations as a sort of, I don't know, kind of a check engine light. That only comes from a thing that you're passionate about and that you like very much, you know?
Yeah.
The reason that I have discomfort or concern with it is because I want to make sure that my favorite game continues to exist 15 years later or what have you. So that is like where all of that, I suppose, comes from. A thing that I had asked earlier was like one of your favorite things about Magic. And to kind of return to that, an evolution of that question I'd also had was, what is your favorite thing about Magic players?
My favorite thing about Magic players, I got a lot of favorites. I think that I'm going to have to give you two answers again, because I'm going to talk about my favorite thing about Magic players in their relationship to the game. And I actually really love the way Magic players in relationship to the game are so honestly obsessed with the minutia of any aspect of this game, because I think it is cool to like things. I think it is really cool to be passionate about things, and Magic players are passionate about Magic. They really care about it. This is not just, you hear about Pokemon and they're like, I got my Charizard BMX card or whatever they call it, and it's like, what does it do? I don't know, but I like Charizard. And it's like Magic players are like, I love this card because he'll allow me to explain what it does when this enters, and they really care about the almost clockwork, you know, majesty of the way in which this game comes together. I really do like that about Magic players, and that passion for the game itself and details in the game. And we love bad cards, and we love talking about, can you believe they designed the card like this? And we're going to talk about it, the history and everything. I love that about Magic players. And then in terms of not the game, but each other, I do feel that Magic players are very keen to share that love with one another. That I think that Magic players, it's a difficult subject, of course, because, you know, there's no monolith, and there are awful, horrible, toxic, hate-filled individuals in any community. But I do feel that we have a community where there is a very significant number of our player population that is really about, come sit down and play with me. And I do feel that is big. Players want to get you to play. And I can think of things like at my local game store would have Legacy Day, and no one has a Legacy deck. And all of these Legacy players would build extra decks and go around the store asking people to play Legacy with them and say, and I go, well, I don't have a Legacy deck. And they're like, well, I've got 3. You can use whichever one of these you like, because we need at least 6 players for this event to fire. 8 would be amazing, but we need at least 6. And it's just me and my 2 friends here again for Legacy. So we're trying to round up 3 people to play Legacy with us so we can get this event to fire. And it's like, you can't play Magic alone. And so because you can't play Magic alone, I do believe there's an inclination to say, have a seat, come down, I want you to be here. And then through that experience, find the love of one another. And again, I do want to be really clear that there is a lot of extreme difficulty, you know, between people and in our community. And I'm in no way saying, like, you know, oh, it's great, Magic players are all this one way and there's no difficulty for anybody. It's like, no, there is a lot of that stuff. but I do feel that we have a significant portion of our population that is interested in pulling out that chair and welcoming someone to sit down with them. And I like to focus on that, or at least not focus on it. We should focus on the people who do not want to pull out that chair or who are making others feel unwelcome or what have you. But I do want to take joy in those that are pulling out the chair and wanting to get those games with everyone that they can.
The welcoming aspect is something I really want to center on too. I guess I'll say it this way. There was no doubt in my mind when I first went to record with you on Shuffle Up and Play, there was no doubt where your values were, And I felt that way across many of my interactions with people who play Magic, kind of consistently. That, exactly as you said, let's focus on the game. We want more people to be able to play the game, but also a game is always just an excuse to hang out with people for a while.
Yeah.
It's just been very neat in the relationships and the friendships that I've been able to forge by playing this game for as long as I have played it, that there is that focus on folks, and that those values can already sort of be in alignment there. And so that is just a very refreshing thing. So
yeah,
it's nice to have this game as sort of a touchstone, an excuse to create those relationships. And it was fantastic to be able to, for instance, when I first met you, already know that things were in good hands and that like everyone's interests were in alignment with like having a good time and helping each other out. That is a type of support that you may not always see in every single hobby or every single activity or even some freaking workplaces even. So that is just a nice experience to have with this community. That is one of my favorite things that I get to witness in this community repeatedly from folks. That in addition to the fact that like when the Magic community puts their mind to something, they're going to do it. Like we hit 100K subscribers, which we were not projected to do until maybe the end of August. We hit it before August because I had mentioned that it was about to be my birthday at the start of August. We're recording this one day before my birthday, actually.
I mean, if it's your birthday, then we're going to subscribe.
And they did.
And if you're watching this and not subscribed, hit subscribe because it's Joey's birthday.
Well, that's just it. We did actually hit that milestone way in advance, and I was completely blown away by that. But when you give Magic players a project, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Or the charities that you do every year for Trans Lifeline, for instance, like Magic players are very activated towards purposes like that as well. And that's also, again, a refreshing thing to see, that this is a very unified force with a lot of values that speak to really important stuff. So.
And I think it is important. Like, I never would want to, ignore or deny the toxicity, the hate, the obstacles that are put for other people and their experiences and all the areas that we need to, as a community, always work on. But I do think that we should not deny the love and the kindness and all of the other positives that exist. You can have both are there, and sometimes it's just to keep ourselves sane that we remember, this is also the community that, just within our own, fundraisers have come together to raise over 1.5 million for Trans Lifeline in the last 5 years and such. And it is important to take the strength and joy in that while also not ignoring the areas that are in need of being addressed.
Yeah. I don't want to get too emotional in my response here, but one of the reasons that I am so intentional about like focusing on the joy of things right now is because the world's a little bit on fire. But
yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, right. But you still can fight back with joy at the same time, if that makes sense.
So long as you fight back. So long as you fight back.
So let's get, ever more complex with our questions here. Across our careers of doing this, I'm sure you've experienced the burnout. In the same line of how we continue to stay in love with this game, do you have any favorite activities or favorite cornerstones, touchstones, whatever, that have helped you realign yourself with the joys of this game, with the things that make you feel rewarded by it, things like that, to help prevent that burnout? Because I know it's a thing that a lot of players experience, especially when we are focusing on it every dang day, as preview seasons sort of demand our constant attention and things like that. So Do you have any particular strategies, methods, ways that you take it easy so that you can realign yourself back with it, do you think?
I just change formats like a hermit crab going from shell to shell. It's just like, it's just like, all right, we're going to go like a hermit crab from standard to popper. Oh, they banned ATOG. Well, now we're going over to pioneer. Well, we're not staying long in that shell. Let's go over to modern. Okay, now we're in commander. Now we're in popper commander. Now we're back in popper. And we just, but joking aside, I really do think that is a great way to prevent burnout is to try other formats. You start feeling burnout because you're not getting from the way in which you engage with Magic what you once got, but you do love Magic. And so by exploring another aspect of it, it's almost like changing to another game. If you go from Commander to pre-modern, that's like you might as well be going from playing Magic to playing Dominion in a lot of ways, and you might find that, oh my god, all the stuff that was burning me out in Commander is just not present here in this other format, and it's new things to think about. I think a lot of burnout from you're seeing the same thing. It's almost like when you're watching a TV show that's on season 15 because they just won't let it die, and you go, we've seen this already. And so it's just like, yeah, I'm so sick of these same problems. You change to a new format and you've got new problems and new things to think about. And I think that helps keep you in the game. Just start draft an old set, go get a cube, go do something different within the game. And it might help you take a breather from that one format that you love. You don't have to throw your cards away or anything. And you go back and revisit them and after time and suddenly love it again.
Something that I do, that there are sometimes just videos that I'll put back on to really remind myself what it is that I love so much about the game. Like, honestly, moving to the top of that list is probably the most recent Game Nights episode with Bosco and Irene the Alien.
Yeah.
An amazing crossover. My worlds just colliding together. But also the gameplay itself was just top of the line. It was an edge of your seat experience. And like, it is stuff like that makes me feel reignited and back in touch with like, dang, this game is just so freaking cool.
It is.
I find like some of those things can be helpful as like touchstones. Just remind yourself of how dang cool some of this stuff is. It is amazing that we get to live in a world where we can treat Magic players like rock stars. It is amazing to me that I can play games of Commander with my whole family. Like my mom has 2 Commander decks, stuff like that.
Yes.
Those are sometimes the walls that I need to lean on to catch my breath and reacquaint myself with what made me fall in love with the game in the first place and remind myself how to fall back in love with it, even during times of my frustration. Even when there are moments where, a Wizards has done a bad company thing and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
Well, speaking of not Magic, then do you have a favorite non-Magic hobby?
Yeah, I've recently been getting more into vintage video games, and I've built. Yeah, my wife and I had saved a lot of our video game systems from when we were kids, and I wanted to set it up so that all of our game systems were simultaneously active. You didn't need to plug or unplug any wires. You could just, if you were at my house, you could just put in a cartridge for any of our systems and turn it on.
Heck
and
yeah.
in order to figure out how to do that, I had to start learning about vintage gaming and retro gaming. And then I just got into the world, and I now have a really cool setup, and I just love retro gaming, and it's my hobby now outside of Magic for sure.
Cool. Because speaking again to like, it's cool to be passionate about things. Like I've seen you have that John Green quote on your wall in your office. It's cool to be nerdy about stuff. It just means that you really, really, really like something.
Yeah.
So to see those passions activated in more than just this one space,
People calling you a nerd is not a put down. It just is someone saying you are passionate about something, and that's awesome. That's so awesome. That's going back to your question about just what I like about Magic players is I love their passion for Magic.
Yeah. And I also appreciate having the things that keep us well-rounded even outside of this game, because I don't know about you, but I get big tunnel vision on things. So like when I do hyper focus on just this one aspect and I forget to like look up and notice that like 6 hours have passed or whatever while I've been editing a video or something like that. It's nice to have those dynamics in other areas too, to make sure that we are more well-rounded and to get an outside perspective so that when we do focus once again on this other thing that we love, we can keep more of a bird's eye view about the importance of those things, the things that are a little bit silly, the things that we can or don't need to take as seriously, stuff like that. And it gives you, I think, a better perspective for questions like this next one that I want to ask you.
Hit me.
Say if you had one chance to change something in Magic going forward, what is it that you think you would change?
Get rid of Universes Beyond.
All right.
Next question.
Okay.
Next question. Universes Beyond, gone. Next question. Easy. Okay. Not counting that. What would I change about it? I'd bring back. See, it's all just old timer stuff. I'd bring back draft boosters. I think draft boosters is a huge loss to the game. I think people don't realize, we did a video about it on my YouTube channel about how play boosters did make draft a little bit of a worse experience, and definitely made sealed a lot worse experience. And it was this, again, beautiful, well-constructed thing that was decades of work and just out the window for collector boosters and set boosters, and there we go. But if I'm not talking about going back to how it was, I would say going forward, what I would change is I would probably, gosh, it's tough because it really is, a lot of my stuff is about, I really miss the things that we have left by the side of the road. So if we're talking about growth and building, I mean, I'd want to build a format that isn't Commander that people play. I feel that that's important. I feel that Commander. So I'm saying this on EDHREC, but I feel that Commander should not be the center of Magic. It should. It works much better not as the focus and the center. It's a beautiful format. It's one of the best formats, but I really wish Wizards would chill out and focus on something else.
High key, like, yeah, you're here on the EDHREC YouTube channel or whatever. I've got my EDHREC mug right here. All of that. We love Commander. Commander is our lifeblood for sure.
Right.
But also, Prof, I am 100% in agreement with you. Like, I had in my own notes here, like, in terms of like something that could affect the future of Magic, Commander is so big and so many things to so many people that I can't help but wonder whether or not it can support that much weight in the future. Like, that's a whole lot of attention to pay towards it. And it means so many different things to so many people. And some way of relieving a little bit of that pressure and finding other ways for players to enjoy it with that same fervor, with that same passion. That is also the kind of thing that I would love to see in the future. And, Wizards has experimented with it here and there, not always to great success, but it is the kind of thing that I do have sort of my eye on the horizon of the future of the game, just kind of wondering in the back of my mind and just like, what else could happen format-wise that would capture this same interest, the same drive, the same passion? Because I think at a certain point, it might be a little bit necessary. It can only get to a certain point before we start needing to address the different desires that every single one of those millions of players will have.
I think it'd be better for Commander too, because I think Commander is a lot better when we're trying to figure out how to make cards work in Commander versus they are designing a card to be the best thing ever for Commander. And that's my own opinion. But I just think that, like, it cannot necessarily, maybe it's not good to get dessert all the time, and that it's okay to kind of work for your meal a little bit. Sure. And I feel that Commander has just had so much served up to it that it can almost be like, well, that is a perfect Commander card. That is amazing Commander card. What it does is amazing. My stomach hurts, and it's
I feel you on that. Yeah.
It's just like,
once we get to the third paragraph on a legendary creature, I'm like, why? The commanders do not need to solve all of their own equations. They do not need to answer the questions that they post forward. I like a thing that poses a question and I have to build a deck that answers that question rather than it being self-contained. Self-contained designs also kind of do like make me a little bit bummed out here and there. So I billion% cosign. I feel like we're very much on the same page about that. With regards, though, to, as long as we're talking about the future of Magic, I'm also curious, though, about what you perceive about the future of Magic content. Obviously, your channel has experienced such amazing success, but a huge part of the push for that, I feel like, was also with you opening up gameplay, doing Shuffle Up and Play, which has been such a delight, such a fantastic thing to see. But started off with product reviews, and so clearly there's you can trace quite a shift over the course of the content that you make. I'm kind of curious if you have your eye on the horizon with like the shifts in the game as they're happening. Is there another thing that you suppose could be out there coming forward too, or whether you think it is currently the smooth sailing?
Yeah, you can't stay stagnant, and we do still do product reviews, but they aren't the focus of the channel. A big part of that too is that I think when we started doing product reviews, there were more products out there that needed to be reviewed. I mean, a lot of times people will come up to me and say, why don't you do product reviews anymore? And I'll say, well, we did actually just do one a month or two ago. I know it's just one in the last month or two, but we did do one. But I would also say, oh, is there a product on the shelves at your LGS that we haven't reviewed? Because I'd love to review it. And
oftentimes the answer is
no. There's this thing on Amazon I saw that you haven't reviewed, or there's a Kickstarter for something coming up. And I'm like, okay, well, the thing with Amazon is there's a whole bunch of stuff that is like very, ethereal and kind of like a step above Temu and whatever. And we don't really like to touch a lot of that stuff. And Kickstarters are a one-time thing a lot of the time, and you don't know what you're going to get. So I do want to focus on what's available on shelves at your store. And as far as that's concerned, we really did cover it all. They're really, it's like, yeah, they got an orange deck box out. It's orange instead of pink this time, but it's the same box. And so there's a lot less to cover as opposed to when we started. And it was just like, well, there's 0 products that have been reviewed, and we've reviewed them and such. But also things do change. And yes, a push to gameplay is a big thing, a push to other types of videos. The adage goes that you don't want to look at where everyone is, you want to look at where everyone will be, and we try and do that. But at the end of the day, we just try and make content for us, and it's just about us really finding joy in that content, finding something that interests ourselves, and hoping that other people are drawn to it because of that magnetism of our own love of what it is we're making. So we don't chase things so much as try and entertain each other.
That hits me pretty deep right now. I'm not gonna lie. Because I don't know what the future of this channel even necessarily looks like. Obviously, we'll focus on Commander. We do love the EDHREC and the Commander and all that stuff after all. But a lot of the videos that I have had the most success with have just been me blathering about something that I really like. And that ultimately does end up being kind of the key to all of it, is that people really respond. Like the joy that you express resonates with a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, truly a lesson that was difficult for me to learn initially. It was actually Daquan Watson who told me, he was just like, dude, just talk about stuff you like. Like seriously, that's the only secret to it. And it's true.
Yeah, he's correct. That's the thing. And I think too many people focus on other aspects and other results. And you have to focus on the content and your love of it. You just have to. So we're doing what we love. And I hope you're doing what you love. Both you, Joey, and you who might be watching, making things. And whether it's magic content or, collecting rocks.
EDH rock.
EDH rock.
yeah. That's just it. I don't know what the future of content necessarily looks like, but at the very least, again, one of the reasons I wanted to focus on just like stuff we like as kind of a focus here in this episode is like that has so far been the truest guiding light for me to be able to avoid things like burnout and to continue to make stuff and for it to reach any level of success at all. So I hope that can resonate again with a lot of folks out there too.
Yeah.
So cheers to that. We're not entirely sure what the future is going to look like, but pretty sure we'll be happy when we find ways to express what we love about it when we get there.
Yes.
I want to wrap up here too. We don't reach big milestones like this without a whole lot of joy, but we also don't reach them without a whole lot of support. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to our patrons who make this job even remotely possible. Thank you to everyone for helping us hit 100K. Thank you to my husband for putting up with me while I'm editing super, super late and have a lot of late nights. Thank you to my parents for teaching me how to play Magic in the first place. And thank you also to you, Brian. I don't think in a million years you ever would have guessed that you would become such an influential figure in this space, but goddamn, do you handle that responsibility with a whole lot of care. You take very good care of very good people. So thank you. It's been really wonderful to become your friends over the past couple of years.
Well, thank you very much for having me here today, and even more for being my friend. It means a lot to me as well.
That really is the end goal to all this. There's no ladder to climb, no aspiration of greatness or anything like that. This is a very silly game that we are all very passionate, very joyful about. But the end goal of it is and always has been friends. So to quote some Golden Girls here, I guess, thank you for being a friend. I appreciate your time a whole lot, Brian.
Who's your favorite Golden Girl?
Blanche, obviously.
Who do you think was mine?
I'm going to have to say Sophia.
See, I felt like you'd say that, but that's your impression of me. But my favorite I was a kid when I watched the Golden Girls too. I watched it when it was live on the air. I'm that old. Well, it wasn't live. It was pre-recorded in front of a studio audience. But I watched it when new episodes aired. My favorite Golden Girl was Rose.
Okay. I love that.
Funniest. Yes.
Yeah. No, you got to give it up to Betty White. Absolutely. I love that I tease that the questions are going to become a little bit more complex over time.
We end up the Golden Girl.
And the most complicated question is at the end, who's your favorite Golden Girl? Truly the most difficult question of all. All right. Thank you again, Brian. I appreciate it so much. And thank you again to everyone for watching. This has been quite a ride. And here's to 100K more, I guess. So thank you.
Yeah, here we go. Here's to 1 million. 100K, they don't care, Joey. They're not going to care until you hit 1 million. So you need to get 1 million. So everyone subscribe because it's Joey's birthday.
Thank you. All right. Cheers, everybody. Don't forget to EDHREC your deck before you wreck your deck. Goodbye, all.